Hi, this is Marysia for Love Your Creativity and Make Money. And this episode is a flashback episode of an interview I did back in 2013, mental, right? With an amazing working actor called Ken Collard. And the reason I've put it up on this new podcast of mine is because the lessons that Ken talks about and teaches that he's learnt himself are as valid, particularly now, as ever before. Since the interview 7 years ago that I did with him, he's continued to go as an actor from strength to strength. He still is in Cuckoo and he's done yet more film roles and loads more television. He was in Catherine the Great recently. He's filming at the moment. If you do want to have a listen back to some more of the old interviews I did back to 2013-14, then you'll find them on the Love Your Creativity podcast, as opposed to my new one, Love Your Creativity and Make Money. If you want to know what I've done in those gap years, well, I've been making art. That's what I've been doing. So obviously in that period, I properly got my singing psychic character on her feet. And we now have world touring shows, both as a game show, the original coming of age story of hers that was award nominated. And of course, my Queen of the Fucking World show, all about sexual politics. Please be aware I haven't made any updates or edits to that recording. So all of Ken and my references to our work have since been wildly updated. Following Ken's advice, I've since done TV, film, lots of shorts. I specialised for a while in playing yummy mummies or crazy women. And if I played a crazy yummy mummy, the project inevitably won awards. One in particular, a long short, managed to get to the semi-finals of the Oscars. I meant to try and do this as a throwback Thursday episode and then a flashback Friday. It's now Saturday. I'm not sure, leftover Saturday, hungover Saturday. But either way, if you want to quote RuPaul, your engine's revved. Hi, this is Marysia for loveyourcreativity.com. This week's interview is with Kenneth Collard. Ken is not only a friend of mine, but a real-life working actor. Recent film credits include Albert Nobbs and Anna Karenina. And on television, well, he's all over it, from Skins to The Borgias to Cuckoo. And he's done something like 45 to 50 commercials over the last 10 years as well. So he really gives some great advice. The big takeaway is you've got to come from a place of knowing you can make a living out of this and knowing that you're good. But it's really inspiring, and I spent a lot of time asking him how to basically do more television and film, and it's really worth a listen. So hope you enjoyed. Hello, Ken.
Hello, Marysia.
Hello. This is Marysia for Love Your Creativity, and I'm with Ken Collard.
Hello.
Hello, who's a friend of mine and an actor. And I always, when I do talk about you to other actor friends of mine, particularly when they're having problems not working, and I would go, you need to meet Ken. He's a proper real-life working actor, which is something to say, actually, in itself. What are you working on at the moment?
Gosh, I'm working on, what have I got? There's two projects I'm working on at the moment. One is a film called The Fitzroy, and we've done the first main principal photography on it. We finished that last week. We have to pick up a few days, end of the month. And I'm also working on new tricks for the BBC. So those two projects at the moment, and just waiting to hear on a third if I can squeeze one in, and possibly some more after that.
Great. And you were in Cuckoo as well. Are they doing a second series of that now?
Yes. I mean, it's the second series was commissioned quite early on from Cuckoo, but I think the difficulty always is trying to get everybody's availability. So in principle, yeah, there's a second series penciled for around about September, October. We start filming on that. But it really depends on Andy Samberg's availability, and Greg's as well, the main two. So if they can work for September and October, then that's fantastic. And I think Andy's waiting to hear on a pilot that he did for Fox, whether it gets commissioned for a series, and if it does, then it shoots over that time, so it'll be delayed even more. But the idea is around September, October, all being well, there'll be a second series.
Well, I know I spoke to you recently. You were doing something at Channel 4 while trying to look at some script for the next day for something else. And I mean, I know myself, I kind of get busy, but I don't get busy like you get busy. How do you think you're such a working actor now? Is it kind of luck? Is it hard work? Is it a bit of both?
I think that's the eternal question, isn't it, for any actor about work? So the starting point is that it's absolutely possible. There's no reason why, if you're half decent at what you do, that you cannot work consistently as an actor. There's no reason why you shouldn't. You know, I always kind of understood that percentage was 95% of actors are not working at any one time, and 5% are. And I remember it's about 13 years ago, I kind of made that decision that there's no reason whatsoever why I shouldn't be in that 5% rather than the 95%, and then I kind of set on a journey to change that. So the starting point always is that it's possible, absolutely possible. There's no reason why you can't earn a decent living out of what you do and what you love, and that's where you start, and you cultivate that belief and that desire also, and that's your starting point.
I mean, I like that because it means that the actions you take from that place are far more positive, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, also to understand, it's tough. It's very tough. It's very difficult. It's very difficult trying to get work, and then of course when you get work, there's a whole new set of sort of challenges, isn't it? It's about broadening your capacity and going deeper than you have done before, and bringing something even more wonderful than you ever have. So it's and then there's so many different facets. So it's never easy. It's not to say it's not joyful or enjoyable. Of course it is, But I think if you strive to create something amazing, it will always be, will always be challenging, and that's a good thing, because a challenge will make you raise your game, isn't it? And if you don't use the challenge in that way, then it kind of stops you, and it becomes quite a painful process. And I think also for women, especially as actors, the odds are even more stacked against you, because you think for every 5 male parts, there's only 1 female part, so the odds are even higher against you. But the point is that it is possible, and that's your starting point, so be clear, it's difficult, and I think if you're going to enter into it thinking it's not, then it's kind of deluded. It's the reality is it's very tough, but possible, and that's what you start with.
So if you have like a fallow period, is there something you just keep reminding yourself this is possible and just keep doing things to keep yourself moving forward? Or is there something maybe you say or do or think about? I mean, did you ever get some great advice, for example? I know some people do that go, I can do this. Simon Callow said to me once, keep on trucking, which I always remember, actually, because I asked him for advice about moving forward. We were at a dinner. And he said, keep on trucking. It seems to be this idea of forward movement, even when it's a bit quiet or...
There's that great encouragement, actually. I'll just see if I've got it here on my phone. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think sometimes it's... you really have to grit your teeth and get on with it. I think there's times when it's good and at times when it's not so good, and that's... reality of the business, and to keep going. And I think it's that persistence and of keep going through it that actually brings out results. I'll just see if I can find this.
Yeah, sure.
This is actually from Daisaku Ikeda, who's a Japanese gentleman, quite an incredible human being. He's the leader of this lay Buddhist organization called Soka Gakkai. It's a movement for peace. It's a people's movement of change. It always encourages the development of an individual's highest potential. But he wrote, if I can read it, he says, press on. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful people with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education alone will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Perseverance and determination alone are omnipotent. It's a big word on the end. And I think that's so true, because it's because I know the most talented creatives that don't work or don't always find an outlet for it, and it's not enough just to have this incredible talent. It's persistence. You've got to keep going. Which is incredibly difficult at times, but that is how you get the breakthroughs from it. you develop a very thick skin. You have to.
I love that quote. I mean, I did something this weekend at the South Bank again, and I've had so much negativity from a couple of teachers I had in the past about my singing work, even while other people really liked it. And if I'd listened to them, I wouldn't have been stood on the balcony singing with thousands of people, bringing them in. And you just think if you sometimes listen to the other voices, you have to listen and learn, but equally you have to go, I have this dream and I am going to absolutely go for it. And I'm quite bullheaded, and I think that's probably my greatest talent, actually.
Yeah.
Pig-headed, bullheaded, I'm not sure.
I mean, I think it's difficult to find that determination to carry on, isn't it? Because it's easy for me to sit here and read that out and say, yes, you need persistence, determination, and it's fine. But the reality is, isn't it, there's moments when you're just banging your head against a brick wall, and it's just, where in those moments do you find that encouragement to continue? The crucial thing is that you do find it, and actually it's okay. It's okay sometimes to think, do you know what, I've had enough, or this, this is, or to be in those places. It's absolutely fine, because as I'm saying, it's a tough journey. But the important thing is, what do you do once you're in those places? Great, feel it and experience it, but move on, pick yourself up. And how? There's many ways, isn't there? And I think it's important that you surround yourself with good friends, with good people, isn't it? That encourage you, and encourage you to keep going and not to give up on that.
I think, and that's partly why I've been doing the Love Your Creativity. Sometimes people around you don't understand what you're trying to do. They love you, but they don't get why you want to sing or act or write or paint, and you should be getting on with other things that maybe make more money, etc., or are more traditional. And I think it is good to have any place you can kind of go and give yourself guidance to move on, really.
Yeah.
So I've set myself a goal of doing some telly in 6 months, by November 18th. So I wasn't going to ask this, but now having seen you, I think, because I think it might be quite useful. If I want to go and do some telly, given I am trained and I have been doing lots of shorts, what would you say to me or anyone else about getting on to do more work that way, for example?
I think everything starts with a decision, doesn't it? I think as human beings, we're a lot more powerful than sometimes we allow ourselves to believe. So the starting point always in life isn't it that you make a decision, life responds to decision. If there's uncertainty, then kind of life responds to that uncertainty. So I think the starting point always is make a decision, isn't it? And Marysia, in the past, I've always encouraged you to set goals to work towards something.
Yeah.
You can just measure then where you're going throughout the year. So how? I think back in around about 2002, I decided to stop doing theatre and focus and try and carve out some kind of path or career in television and film.
Yeah.
Only because that's kind of where I saw my future. I think there's practical stuff that you need to get in place. So, as we spoke about earlier, what's important, again, this is my feelings on it, and other people will have different feelings, but my feelings, absolutely crucial is that you have a reel. This is a show reel. It's so important, I think, because if you've not done much telly or any telly, there's a good chance that the casting directors may not know you or have seen your work. So they will want to know or see your work, and a great way to do that is a show reel. I mean,
I've got some show reel, but my agent hates it, so therefore I've gone, okay. So I've ended up doing lots of shorts, which I'm waiting for those to come through. But then you go, do I then go and get a show reel made? There's that kind of conversation, which I'm umming about. I think I'm going to...
Well, there's a great little piece on Spotlight today. Spotlight as in the Actors Directory online, from Amy Hubbard, amazing casting director, really wonderful person as well. And they selected 3 show reels at random, and she had a look at them and then kind of did an appraisal of each of the 3. And on Spotlight you can view the show reel and you can look at the points that she's making.
Great.
So show reel has to be brilliant, doesn't it?
Yes.
Because this is your introduction, maybe for the first time, to somebody. So it has to be brilliant, because that's how their opinion of you is going to be informed by what they see. So it's got to be brilliant, and you shouldn't accept anything less. This is about you and building your brand, isn't it? So absolutely important that it's as brilliant as you can absolutely make it, and also that it's short. I think Amy on there suggests something like 3 minutes or so, which I think again is good. So yeah, crucial to get a show reel, and it's got to be brilliant in terms of filming scenes. Yeah, if it looks absolutely amazing, then I'm sure that's fine. Again, the stuff that you choose from the short films you've done, great. It's a good way to build confidence in front of the lens, and also to get a reel. But make sure that whatever you show, it's brilliant. It's got to be. You've got that 3-minute opportunity or 1 minute, for them to say yes. Let's bring them in. Let's take a punt here. I don't know this person, but let's bring them in. So it's so important that it's your calling card, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting because you end up in a catch-22. Is my stuff good enough? Not really to be brilliant, but then you go, well, you have to find ways to determine, right, I'm going to find a way to break through this because if...
Yeah. So that's, I think, good to get showreels. So in terms of then, what else can you do to get into television? So I guess it depends if you're represented or not, if you've got an agent or not. So if you have an agent, then it's good to have that meeting, to set up a meeting, say, look, this is where I want to go, what can we do together to make that happen? Also be clear on, so television is quite broad, so what do you, specifically when you say television, what? Be aware of the kind of work that you want to do. So, from the stuff you see on telly, look who the producer is, the director is, get to know their work, look who's casting it, the casting director. Those are the people that you really want to be meeting if that's the kind of work you want to do. So again, that's, you have that conversation with your agent also. I think if you don't have an agent, then that's slightly different. I think, again, there's get a good reel, but there's no reason why you can't, I suppose drop a letter or drop your stuff off to the casting director and say, look, really love the kind of work you're doing. This is my reel. We've not met before. If you get a chance, please do have a look and, maybe follow up in a couple of weeks. But I mean, always respectively, because, they get 1,000 of those a week. Yeah,
exactly. No, of course. But I think it's about, as you say, I've always been told, right, when you're in something, which you do. And I mean, normally, because I do obviously more theatre stuff, generally one will turn up maybe every 2 shows. So, but even the fact if you get one there to a production, it's always, of course, a celebration kind of thing, really. You're like, yes, a casting director's come to see my work. Your route was obviously agent, and then did you then go and politely harass the casting directors and directors? Did you contact directors directly? Did you try and move all that effort through your agent, or did you do a lot of work on the side of your agent when you were starting off? I know you're slightly different now because obviously people know your work and know who you are now.
I think when I left drama school, I went straight into West End and then a tour for 11 months. And then after 11 months, when I stopped touring, I got an agent, a commercial agent. And that wasn't so great. I think they were more kind of good at managing rather than proactively sort of getting work. And I think for about a year or so, kind of sat there with pretty much not much. And I was then, I think, getting PCR or something. And when I saw something PCR, I would ring them and it'd be a bit awkward. And they would maybe submit me or not, or make a call or not. It was all a bit awkward. But I left them after about a year and then went to another commercial agent, which was certainly a step up in terms of that relationship.
Yeah.
But then I was only probably with them for about a year and a half or so, and then I went to a cooperative, an actors cooperative for 10 years. And at that point, and where I was, it was a fantastic thing to do. I really learnt about the business, how it worked. I learned about negotiating. I learned about contracts. I learned about who the cast directors were, who the companies were. It was a fantastic way to learn about the business. It's not the perfect representation for everybody. No. And, there's certain points in your career where you're probably better not to go there. And sometimes certain points in your career where it's good to go there. You have to make that choice. But I ended up being with them for 10 years, managed to build up a half-decent CV, and then from then left and went back to the commercial side rather than the cooperative side. Again, went to one agent. I have a terrible track record. I was only there for a year. I mean, I did very well with them, but it wasn't the kind of representation I wanted, and so I moved, and I've been with the current agent for 3 years, and they're great.
Can I ask who you're with now?
With Debbie Allen Associates. Very, very good. So really working. So when I was in the cooperative and I made that decision to move away from theatre and start doing film and television. So the first thing you do, I mean, when you're in a cooperative, you see what's coming in, so you know what's being cast. And so it was an emphasis of really, with the agency, making a bigger emphasis of submitting me for that kind of work, at the same time building up a showreel through doing short films or anything that I could, so then that I had some kind of calling card that they could see my work. And very slowly, over the few years, I started to get meetings, and then the work came through.
And kept on going. No, it's good. It's interesting.
Yeah. So I think if you don't have an agent, then how do you do it? Again, it's do your research. Who do you want to work with, and what kind of work you want to do. I think, as you're saying, if you're doing a theatre show, fantastic. If you're going to write to, casting directors, as you said, I think it's good that you've got something to tell them, rather than it's just like, hi, stalking again.
Yeah. Hello, my name is.
Yeah, so it's good to say, well, look, I'm in this show, please come and see it.
Yeah.
Or if not, look, I've just had a new reel cut, please have a look.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting though, because I've just done, I said 3 shorts. I'm about to do another, like a low budget feature. I've just done a narration for a pedigree poultry documentary. So cute. And I thought, actually, I've got enough to write a letter. I've done enough things. But then I'm like, should I be waiting for the showreel? But then I'm like, well, as we know, editing can take different amounts of time. And I'm thinking I should just need to do the writing. I just need to sit there and do, as you say, and get writing again, really.
But I think also it's a lot stronger if it comes from your agent, you see.
Okay.
So if you have an agent, then, well, you're paying them, and there's a function that they do, and one of that is to be able to, make inroads for you. So it's a lot stronger if it comes from an agent. If they make that call and they have that relationship, say, well, look, let's... do you have 5 minutes and let Marysia come in and you can meet her? Okay. So it's a lot stronger in that way. I think it's certainly when you get to a certain level in your work, you probably end up writing less and less letters, and your agent, the emphasis is more and more of the agent doing that, and if you hear stuff or there's projects that you've heard about that you want to do, you liaise with your agent and they do that work. It's a lot stronger. So it can also undermine, I think, the agent sometimes if the actor's writing many letters and they're trying to, and it's pulling in 2 different ways. Okay. So it's good to have that conversation with the agent, saying, well, look, this is what I want to do. What do you think? What's going to be the most effective? What's your relationship with this particular casting director? Is it possible you could make a call to get me in for a general, just to meet them? I love that kind of work they're doing. This is my reel, and it matches it. It would be great to have that meeting.
Yeah.
And to get your agent to do the work, because ultimately that's what you're paying your commission for, absolutely. Isn't it? When the work comes through.
Yeah. No, that's good. So yes, in that case, I might write the letter, and then when I get the showreel, then get him on the phone to do the next bit. I think also I've got to watch more telly. I mean, I know we've talked about kind of you having to pick yourself back up again, but how do you actually deal with also, because I know you get really busy. You've got social, you've got your life, you've got the fact, am I not dyeing my hair for this project when I'm doing something else? I mean, how do you kind of keep all the balls in the air? Or do you just kind of just get very kind of uber focused at one thing at a time? Because sometimes you can't though, can you? Because I know as an artist I sometimes like to go, this is all I'm doing. But then when you get the call going, I've got an audition later in the week, I know I've got to take some time out to focus on that as well.
I think it depends on the person, doesn't it? Because I think I'm kind of at my best when I'm busy. But that's not for everybody. Sometimes it is a bit overwhelming when you've got lots of meetings come through and you get a script through one afternoon, and then you've got to go and prepare it and be off the page 10 pages by the next day. But you do it because that's what you do. That's what you get paid to do. I remember having a meeting for. I'm not going to say what for. It's for the BBC, what the project was, and I had the call through the script came through on, I don't know, something like a Thursday lunchtime, and it was 16 pages long, and it says, can you be off the book, off page by tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock meeting. And also what I was kind of having to do was way out of kind of what I normally would do for the character, and it's just like, I think what makes amazing people, isn't it, is when they are in those situations and they make it happen. It's easy to kind of think, well, I'm not going to be able to do it, and why, and I think they shouldn't, and gosh, to ring me up at this late and expect me, and well, it is what it is, and it's the way the business is, so make it work. So I just knuckled down and did, absolutely the best I could up till, 1:30 in the morning, working on the script, making choices, thinking, well, look, the meeting's going to be probably 15 minutes. They're not going to do 16 pages of script. Prioritize it. What do you think they're going to do? Then started to prioritize it, work on it, get as much off the page, and find, the kind of character, and go there having won over yourself, and it was most amazing meeting.
Can I ask on that? You said what you normally do. I mean, how do you prepare for an audition, especially in those situations? Are you very much character focused? Any tips you can give us?
No, because again, it's all different, isn't it? I don't know. So if I the thing is, you get a script through, so you've got to read 60 pages of script, and then from that, sometimes you get the brief which says, choose any scene that you want, or prepare all scenes, and you think, right, so in this short space of time I have to read, on top of everything else, this 60-page script or 120-page script, and go through all the scenes and get them off the page, and so again you make choices. So I don't know, it's character focused. I think the first thing is just trying to get a through line of where they start, where they are, where they end up, and I think if you can get that overview, that the next stage is to kind of understand who this person is and bring something of yourself to it and make it live. I had the job actually I'm doing at the moment, one of the ones I'm working on this film, and again didn't finish till 9:30 at night, and then sort of back here, and again sometimes it means working till 1 in.the morning trying to get your head round it, but actually that's what it takes, and it pays off. I think sometimes English actors can be quite lazy in going to a meeting and not having done that groundwork. In America, it's very different. It's each audition is a precious opportunity. It really is, and I feel I try, and I don't always succeed, but that I treat it as such. You have 3 minutes or 5 minutes to be brilliant. Or 15 minutes sometimes, depends. So it's important, that preparation, absolutely, that preparation beforehand, and as I say, will vary for different people on how you prepare, but important, be off the page, so important, and come with ideas as well. And also be prepared to throw everything out the window and start again when you're in the room. I think it's the same with commercials. I mean, the commercial castings. There's a way, actually. There's a technique. You see, there's a pool of actors that book commercials all the time. You see them on the circuit. I think over 10 years, I've probably done about 45, 50 commercials. Wow. You understand there's a kind of a technique to it, and you get into that frame of mind. I mean, that's another conversation itself on how to book sort of commercial castings, and
might have to come back another time.
But just to kind of finish, really, the point is persistence, absolute persistence, and cultivate that belief in yourself that you can make this happen, and that you can be successful, and that you are a brilliant actor, and that you are worth something, and you should be treated as such, and cultivate that belief, and surround yourself with good friends, and never give up on it. Never, see it through to its natural conclusion.
Sounds like a good way to finish.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Marysia. Good to see you again.
Yes, always. Thanks.